Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at another ballpoint. I will not be doing these often, don't freak out on me. I typically can't stand ballpoints, but I do like to carry around one with me, either in my pocket, or in this case on my keychain. So this is the TrueUtility telescopic pen. Very interesting. I'm really liking it so far. I do have a few gripes which we'll go over. But this is going to replace my Fisher Space Pen. I've recently purchased a Kaweco Lilliput to carry as my pocket pen, but I still need a ballpoint somewhere. So I got this for my keychain, and I have been using it for a little while now. And I figured we'd go ahead and take a look at it. So let me go ahead and show you this so you don't get freaked out later. But it telescopes out and then unsnaps from the top. So you have a decent length ballpoint pen now. So you can see the grip is minuscule, and we'll go over that in a bit. I use different grips for ballpoints than I do fountain pens, so it isn't a big issue for me. But for you, it very well may be. But we'll get to that. So first, as usual, let's go over some specs. The length closed, excluding the keychain piece, is 50 millimeters. The length open is 115, and the weight comes out to about 14 grams. It does come with this little keychain attachment. Now, I tried to use my own keyring for this, but it didn't fit, and we'll go over that in a bit as well. But it's a fairly small pen. So let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Also, let me know what you think of the new background here. I'm trying something a little different so it doesn't get blown out and you can actually see what I'm looking at. But I'd like to see some response to that as well. Here for a closed size comparison, we have my modified Fisher Bullet Space Pen. We also have a Lamy LX and a TWSBI 580 All in pink. And then we have yellow kit pen. So you can see it's very, 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 very tiny pen. Super duper small, which is exactly what I wanted. Let's go ahead and do an uncapped. We'll go ahead and stretch that out, and you can see it becomes a very usable length at this point. I'll go ahead and post the Fisher Space Pen because that's typically how it's used. So you can see the length is pretty similar. It's really just the width and the closed size. There is the Lamy, and we'll go and do the TWSBI. I'm not going to do posted length for this because there's not really a point since that pen in particular can't post. And there's the kit pen. So you can see all these are slightly askew. So you can see this is a very usable length. When it's opened up, it's about the same size again as the Space Pen. Maybe a fraction of a millimeter longer, but it's about the same length as the. Of course, I'm gonna hit everything. It's about the same length as the kit pen, for reference. So it's a very usable length. I'm liking it quite a bit. And it's fit into my kind of EDC very well. Go ahead and get this out of the way. All right. We'll go ahead and go over the like, neutral, and dislike. But first, I would like to compare this just real quick to a sloth pencil pouch, or pen pouch in this case. It is significantly shorter than the pen pouch, but it certainly would fit inside. It would have no issues fitting inside of this thing. So if you have a sloth pen pouch and you're looking for a pen to put in it, gotcha right here. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into the like. So first thing I like about this pen is the size. Opened and closed, really. It's plenty long enough for me to write with, but it's not intrusive. and especially when it's closed, that's just minuscule. It's so tiny. It fits onto my keys. It's about the length of a key, so that works out great. It doesn't stick out very far. If you're not counting this, which we'll get to at a later time. But it's pretty good. Next thing I like really is the price. So this is a whopping $6 or $7. Now that includes refills. It comes in this little box here. Sorry about that. It comes in this little box here, and it comes with a refill in it, and then 3 extras. So for $6, this packaging isn't terrible, actually. I wasn't expecting much, and this is a very cheap plastic. Don't think you're going to get to use this for anything else. It'd shatter. It's literally flexing. It's kind of crappy, but it kind of tells you here what you get. You get the pen. I'm assuming this is the tug. I have no idea what that is. 3 refills. It hangs on a key ring, obviously, and it's stainless steel. It's 420 stainless steel for those of you who care. I don't in this case because it's a $6, $7 pen. So there's your packaging for it and your refills. So for $6 or $7, you get this pen. Now, very important note, you cannot buy refills separately for this pen. Can't do it. You get 4. To be honest, I've been using this pen for, I think, 2 weeks now. And I really haven't used all that much of the cartridge. Very, very little, actually. I don't know really how well you can see. Probably not at all. You can see the little bit I have used. So it's not terrible. You're really not going to use this for long writing sessions, so I think it's perfectly worth it, in my opinion. And for my uses. Your use case may vary, though. But you can pick these up off Amazon or off of TrueUtility.com. It's technically called the Telepen. The TrueUtility Telepen. So if you're looking at, that's what you'll search for. Or just TrueUtility Pen. I believe this is the most popular, as far as I can tell. Alright, next thing I like is the build. My wife picked this up, and I asked her how it felt to write with it, and she said it felt like it was going to break like a twig. But it's really not, weak at all, which surprised me. It does have a fair amount of rigidity to it. The steel sheets aren't super thin, so it's not going to bend or anything. I'm sure if you stepped on it when it's extended, it very well may, but in this case it didn't. Alright, next thing up is the weight. It's very light. It's super light. Now, in writing, I typically don't like super light pens. I like them to have a little bit of weight to them, but in this case, when I have it on my keys, I can barely feel it's there. It's perfect. And that's really what I wanted. Next thing up, the capping. I really like the capping for this. I can leave this on my keychain and literally pull the pen away from it and use it, and then just cap it back. It's super easy. I really, really like it. It's very secure. I haven't had this pen come out on me at all. I'm sure if you were, if it got snagged, which I'm not sure how it would, but if it got snagged somehow, it might pull out a little bit. But actually telescoping the pen's one thing, but pulling it all the way out is a little bit more difficult. It just uses some metal fittings. They're kind of flexible and grips on this right here. Next thing I like is the refill. Not the size or anything, we'll get to that, but the actual writing experience is fairly decent for a ballpoint pen. It's very smooth. I don't have to apply pressure, which is great because this pen wouldn't be able to apply much pressure because it's hard to get a good grip on it, especially in your standard kind of grip. You'd be very hard pressed to do much with that. But the refill writes very smoothly. On to the neutral. Refill size. This is a super small refill. It's tiny. Let me get the Fisher Bullet Space Pen refill out here. That's a lot of threads. So there's the Space Pen refill. And let's see, I believe I have a Standard international cartridge around here somewhere. So there's the standard international cartridge size. It's very tiny. It's about the length of the back of the standard international cartridge, and even all that isn't ink. I do not recommend this for long writing sessions. It would be terrible for a variety of reasons, but the cost per refill is going to be high regardless, just because of how small the refills are. Now, again, this is not a pen you're going to use all the time, so it really shouldn't affect you that much, but the size of the refill is a little bit... I understand they have to be small, completely, because the closed length of the pen is really not all that much longer than the cartridge. What I don't like is that they didn't use all of this backspace to add in the ink. This is ballpoint ink, it's paste, it's cheap. They really should have added just a little bit more. But it's not a huge deal. Next thing I'm kind of neutral towards is the keyhole on here. Go ahead and cap that. So you can see here, it fits this one just fine, as it should. It comes with it. But a standard kind of keyring size will not fit. For example, I tried to take it off this little one and put it on my main keyring, which is a little bit beefier. It's not, it's not ridiculous, but it's a little tougher than these kind of default cheap ones, and it wouldn't fit. Well, it would go on, but it would sit right in between this area here on my keyring, so you could only move it like that. It was useless. So I do have to keep it on this on another keyring, which kind of bothers me because it adds a little bit of length, but it's not a huge deal. Next thing I dislike is actually in the writing area. The refill, let me show you here. So you can see it's kind of extended. So when you go to actually write with this, you press it in. So when it goes to touch paper, it goes in and then you write. And it comes back out pretty much every time. That's infuriating because when you go to touch this piece of paper and begin writing, you can feel it kind of click down. And it can leave a mark. So that's not fun. I really can't stand it. Next thing on the dislike is the narrow grip. Now I hold my ballpoints, it's kind of odd, but like this. This is how I write. So I'll write like that. I don't hold them like this, just because I just can't stand it. So I'll hold them like this and get the pen nice and perpendicular to the paper. So if you do hold it like this though, the grip is so insubstantial that you're going to have a massively hard time doing anything with it. For example, just going to compare the TWSBI 580 All grip with this. It's a joke. It really is. It's insane. Even gripping the back of the pen would be difficult, and it's significantly thicker. But it's just, there's nothing there to grab onto. So unless you hold it in a modified or alternative grip style, it's going to be probably a problem for you. My wife is very small, has very small hands, and she still had trouble writing with it like this. So next up is the logo. Now, this logo here on the back, I don't mind. That's just fine. Doesn't bother me at all. This logo here on the side does bother me, and for two reasons. One is the size. It's huge on this little bitty pen, so when you have it closed, it takes up a huge chunk. Now it's kind of difficult to see, but it's there. The thing I really dislike about those, it's textured. The rest of this pen is smooth polished steel, and then you have this textured logo. I can't stand it. It's infuriating. So that's very not cool. I really didn't like that. Oh, it appears my pen has gotten snagged. Of course it's going to happen while I'm on camera. That was odd. First time that's happened for the record, but that did just happen. Last thing I dislike is the refill method. So in order to refill this, you grab right here, if I can get it in focus, and you twist. I actually recommend gripping it and twisting the body so you don't lose this, which is the reason I dislike it, because look how small that is. Do you have any idea how easy that would be to lose? So you just unscrew that, take out your refill, put your refill back in, and screw it back on. But I really wish they had done something a little different, maybe down to here, instead of way up here, you'd have a little bit extra grip on it. It'd be much easier to exchange. All right, we'll go ahead and do a quick writing sample. This is ballpoint, so I won't go into super depth, but I'll just show you here on some Rhodia paper. Give me just a moment, get this in focus. And I'll give it a moment to stop shaking. Again, it's fairly smooth writing, but that little notch when you tap initially to the paper is really annoying. Very frustrating. All right. So this is the True. I forgot how to spell utility for a moment there, guys. I'm losing it. TrueUtility Telepen. I'm just going to ignore that. See, this is all recorded in one session instead of being edited, so this is going to turn... This is just bad. This is the stuff that you don't get to see normally. But it's very smooth. I don't have to bear down at all. See if I can... It's really hard to show you with this pen. But the ink is usual ballpoint ink. I really don't like it. It's not dark enough. But it works. For receipts, signing checks, whatever if you can't use a fountain pen for, this is not a bad option. And just for fun, I'll kind of show you the size relative to the Fisher Bullet Space Pen, which has up to this point been my go-to. And I still really like this pen. The writing experience isn't quite as smooth, but it is what it is. But that'll be it for now, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, let me know what you think of the new background. And keep an eye out for a review of the Noodler's Conrad acrylic coming out within the next day or two, hopefully. And also, if my Lilliput comes in, we'll have a review of it in the coming weeks. Thanks, guys.